Hello and welcome to Ask Mama Amy, a podcast promoting practical advice and resources for strong mothers. I'm your host, Amy Shao, single mom and estate planning attorney and founder of Shao Law. Hi, everybody. I'm so glad to be here. Today we have Veronica Carrillo with us. She's the owner of All About Wine Tasting. Hi, Veronica. Welcome.
Hi, how are you, Amy?
Good.
Very happy to be here with you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being with us. So Veronica, tell us, what is it that you do? What is All About Wine Tasting?
Well, actually, I was inspired to create that business because during let's say about 25 years, I was very dedicated to be a mom, to be a wife, and to do all these things I'm supposed to do. But I really didn't make myself the time to go out with my girlfriends. And I think that going out with your girlfriends, enjoying a glass of wine, and being able to talk about the things that as women we are worried about, I think that's one of the best activities that we can do on constantly, maybe once a week or once every 2 weeks, that help us to decompress, to recharge, and to keep on going.
I love that concept. And in fact, for those of you who are just listening in, I just went on a trip. Veronica just took me and some of my girlfriends to a trip, and it was amazing. I had no idea. And it was so awesome because you were actually, so you speak Spanish as well, and Mexico is where you grew up, right? And so you're able to kind of maneuver the culture and the language on both sides of the border. And would you say that that's really helpful for when you take people over?
Yes, actually, I think that's one of the most rich experiences that I've had in my life, to be able to live on both sides of the border, because it's very different when you live on one side and have a perspective of the other. But when you actually live in that community, in that culture, in that country, you really get the way people see things, their perspectives on life. And so you can cater to them. And as in when I'm taking them down to Valle de Guadalupe, I can communicate with them as well, because I know the way they do business and how they communicate in that culture. So I think that has been very helpful. And I just love that too, because I bring you together.
Yes. And I love that, because sometimes we're curious. I speak for myself, I'm curious, but sometimes the language can be a little bit of a barrier, right? So going there with you kind of helps me feel safer, because you can be there and kind of guide us and kind of show us around. And that's just really, really awesome. And tell us about what got you into this whole wine business and tourism. Have you always been in tourism?
Yes, actually, I studied a tourism major in the University of Baja California. I've worked in this area since I was 18. And it's funny because once you finish the university, you kind of want to climb up on the different positions that you can work in this industry. But the one that I love the most is to be a host. I actually started this career being a tour guide, and that's one of the things I enjoy the most. So that's why I like to plan these getaways. I like to be the host of the getaways and kind of share with you what I've have learned throughout the years. And being in the tourism industry, this actually, it was like a surprise to me to discover that we had a wine country in Baja California. So I started to study a little bit more about it. I went to an appreciation of wine class, and that's where it got me excited, because it's a topic that you never end learning about. There's always something new. There's so many variables in making wine. And I love that it reconnects us with Mother Earth. It connects us with people, with places, and all while you're enjoying a glass of wine. So I really like the whole culture that surrounds it.
Mm-hmm. That's so awesome. And I see the passion that's coming out of you. That's so strong. And have you always liked wine? Even as prior to starting all this?
I think I started like everyone with
social drinking.
Yeah, socially, like the wine Zinfandel. That was one of my very first wines that I tasted. But since I started to be more involved in the culture, I've been focusing more on, okay, where does it come from? Does the weather or the soil or the country where it's made is going to influence the flavor of that wine, what the people around it are doing. And so the stories around it. So it makes it something more enjoyable. Actually, it's the wine is to be sipped like little by little, and I just love how you have to wait the 365 days of the year to enjoy like a new bottle of wine. It's all takes its time. There's so many like details that go into it, that the people is crucial, but also Mother Nature is crucial in giving you the fruit to work with. So I get really passionate about it. I'm sorry if I'm taking too much.
Oh no, you can
talking about it.
Totally tell. And all that passion was what makes the trip even more fun, right? Like as we're listening to you explain and hear your, just see your passion, like it makes us excited about the wine and the whole tasting experience. And also getting to know the people there really brings a whole other layer of experience to this whole thing. And so I want to go back to what you just said at the beginning. You were saying at the beginning that you were a mom and a wife, and you were so focused on doing the dutiful job that you didn't really spend a lot of time for yourself. So would you be willing to share your mom life? How old are your kids? And are they boys, girls? Tell us about your kids.
Yeah, of course. I'm a mom to two, young men now. They're 22 and 20. And yes, I mean, growing up, they're just like 2 years apart. So there's a lot of energy involved there. And I love to be a mom, but also I always love to work. And that was one thing that my kids growing up in Mexico and me living in Mexico was kind of hard, because you're expected to stay at home and take care of your kids. And so I did have to deal with some guilt there as they were growing up. But working was a very important part of me. So that made me happy, or kind of make me whole as a woman. And so, of course, when in the morning before they went to school, or in the afternoon when I picked them up and took them to their soccer practices, and just like to be there for whatever they needed as me, as a mom, I really put in a lot of effort so they wouldn't feel that I wasn't there because I was working. I always wanted them to feel loved and to feel that I was there if they needed anything, even as they were growing up. And because you know how like in middle school and then in high school, they don't need you to be there as much, but they still need you. So, and then they're boys. So that's probably another challenge. We see things differently, me as a woman, them as boys. But I think that creating that space of communication with them, I love that now to this day. My oldest doesn't live with me anymore. He's on his own, but he still makes the time to call me, and we have great conversations. And when he comes out to visit, we still go out and have lunch or breakfast. And we have these conversations. And so I just still like that they kind of, we can go out and have a good time. I know that sometimes at that age, they're like, I'm not going to go out with my mother, but I like that they do.
They do. So that's awesome. You've done a good job. At least he talked to you.
Eventually it did work, right? And then I have the youngest is still in college, and he lives with me, but I mean, the same thing. I mean, he has his own activities. I have mine. But he knows that I'm there supporting that he's still studying in the university, and kind of just guiding him to be that independent person that one day I would like him to be. So it's a work in progress, but we are all right.
Yes. And I just love how you, as a mom, it sounds to me like you are still a working mom, and you're balancing between being present for the children as well as work, because all of these different aspects are part of your identity, right? And and your sons, you did a great job in maintaining the connection with them and staying engaging with them. What would you say was some of the challenges as a mom raising these kids and working, and how did you overcome those challenges, and that gave you the strength that you have now?
Oh my gosh. Well, it's been like, we moved to San Diego in 2007. They were 5 and 7 at that time. And the first challenge was the language. I knew English, and it was kind of hard. Yeah, I would have to, like, after school, explain to them their homework or whatever they were taught at school. And I mean, being so different from here, from Mexico to here, that was one thing. And then just like to get, again, like involved in the community, because I came here and I really didn't know anybody. So start to knowing the school, how it works, the teachers, the moms. That was one thing. But I mean, little by little, I think that curiosity that always I've had to learn about other people, other places, and other cultures helped me to kind of start all over again and start to make to build a community around people that I can get a hold of if anything I needed with the children, and be able to communicate with the teachers and so on. So I think that was the biggest one. And then the second was to kind of keep in their minds that they have these two nationalities, Mexican and American, and you don't want them to lose neither one, even if they're growing in one. And we wanted them to not lose their language, their first language, which was Spanish. And so that was the second challenge, because as they start to grow up and have friends here in the United States, they sometimes don't want to listen to things in Spanish anymore. They don't want to see the movies in Spanish anymore. So, but you have to kind of like keep that going, because when you go to family reunions, they still talk to them in Spanish, and they want them to answer in Spanish as well. And you don't want them to forget that. And then when they become teenagers, I think that was the first, as a mom, you feel like that disconnect, and that's kind of hard as a mom. But I always thought of as them as like as my children, as much as I love them. They are like given to me to like protect and to take care of. But one day they're going to leave and make their own lives. So I think that helped me to go through that. And then, just like I said, to be there, but like in the backstage, because when they're like in their middle school and in high school, their friends are like the first priority for them. But you have to be there as a parent, like in the backstage, just in case anything happens, because they're going through all these changes, through these identity crises as well. And it's just like to be there. I mean, I'm here if you need me, and if you need to talk, and always like trying to have these conversations. There's one of them is really good. We have these like really deep conversations. He gives me his point of view, I give him mine. And I think that's helped on both sides. I've learned from him, he's learned from me. And then at the end, we make our own idea or our own belief of the situation, right? But we respect each other, and I think that's good.
Yeah. Wow. And it's a long journey.
Yes.
and not being too overbearing, but still staying in contact in the background to be there for them, and letting them know that, letting them open themselves up to you when they choose to.
Exactly. Sometimes you just have to like be there. Okay. Sometimes you want to, get in there and kind of fix things, but you can't, or you shouldn't. It's one of those things that you have to like, listen to your gut in the moment.
Yeah, that's and that is on top of everything that you do, including your work and your business and everything. Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
But it's I would say is one of the most, it's one of the things that I feel honored to be a mom. So grateful. And I would say the love that I feel for my sons is, it's one of those things that nobody can explain. I think it's one of those loves that, oh my God, is one of the greatest ones that you'll ever experience in your life.
Yeah. Yeah. What would you say is the thing that gave you the strength to go through all the challenges of everything, like really just of life in general?
I think since I was younger, I always felt a curiosity for challenging the status quo. I remember my
You're a
mom
real
always would say, why you just can't say yes? And why you have to ask all these questions? And so that always made me like ask questions, like to ask myself, is there another way of doing things? Is there something else I could be doing? Is there a different way? Is it okay? Is it good? Is it right, wrong? All those things. And perseverance of thinking that what you're doing is going to take you to a goal, and that goal is a good goal for you and your family and your sons in this case. Pushing through your fears, even if you don't see it. I have a lot of fears and I push through them. And sometimes the situation gives you the opportunity to push them through them slowly, and sometimes you just have to go boom. You have to go like push them right away, and then you realize that things were not that difficult like you thought, or not that bad, or actually it was a great outcome, and you're so glad that you had that moment of courage and you did it. And I think all these things at the end gives you a resilience to, I mean, one of the latest lessons that have been hardest is to let go of things that do not help me to grow as a person, as a professional, and to let go and to be able to open myself to new things, and to keep on going. And and that builds resilience. I mean, at the end of the game, but it's a thing that we have to be working constantly at, and we have our lows and our ups, and it's just a matter of keep on going. I think you just have that motivation, or that thing inside of you that says keep on going. Eventually you're going to get there where you're meant to be at.
and the resilience, the strength, right? And now you're landing at the wine business.
Yeah, and I enjoy it, and I just love it so much. So
yeah. And tell us more about like this. What are your services? What can you offer to people in our local community? How can they contact you and things like that?
Well, actually, here in San Diego, I can bring a Baja wine tasting to your home, to your backyard, or if you have like an office or a business, I can be part of a client appreciation event where I bring the wines and we do some tasting activities. I talk a little bit about where they come from, and we can do some games and so on. So that would be one way of doing a Baja wine tasting for a friend's gathering or a birthday or anniversary. The other is organizing the wine trips. I love to take you down to Baja California. It's so close to us, just an hour and a half from San Diego, and is a premier wine country of Mexico right now. It's where 85% of the wines are produced. So I can organize everything from transportation, accommodations, the tastings, activities. So anything that you would like, we can do a whole weekend if you like. We can do a whole week if you're interested and you have the time for it.
A family trip with Veronica.
Yes, there's so many places to visit nowadays. So I can put all that together for you. And right now, my major presence is on Instagram. So you can find me at All About Wine Tasting. And as well by phone or by text at 619-289-4458. I'll be more than happy to be your host down to Baja California, to the wine country in Valle de Guadalupe.
That is fantastic. And we'll make sure to include your links in the show notes below so everybody can click on it and contact Veronica. And so Veronica, before we end the episode today, do you have any final parting wise words to share with our local community?
I would
Take care of
say
themselves.
that one of the most important things is we are in a learning journey in life. Always be open to it. Enjoy it. Enjoy every detail of your life, everything that surrounds you, like nature. I just love to be in contact with nature. I work here close to the ocean, and that's one of the things that just fills me with life. And never give up. Never give up. Always work constantly towards a goal that you have in life, and eventually you will get there.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Veronica. Thank you for being with us today. See you next time.
Thank you, Amy. Have a good day. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us today on Ask Mama Amy. Head over to AskMamaAmy.com for all the show notes and links you heard in today's episode. You'll also get my free legal tool for you to name legal guardians for your children, so that you can leave them with abundant resources to support them and a total peace of mind. If you liked today's episode, please subscribe and leave a review to tell us why. See you next time, mamas!